welcome to the Not Your Average Knits podcast. My name is Kim. Today is August 18th, and this is episode 31. It's been a little over 2 weeks, I think, probably almost 3 since my last podcast. Welcome back to everyone who's returning. Welcome to anybody who is brand new. You can find me on Instagram as Not Your Average Knits. We have a Ravelry group for the podcast and for my designs called Not Your Average Knits. And then my Ravelry username is kbridgeo. So I pretty much put 99% of all my projects and stash up on Ravelry. So if you ever have any questions about anything I say or show, you can definitely find the info there. And if you don't, feel free to message me anywhere, comment down below on the video. I love to hear from you guys. So in terms of what's happening, we've been doing an entrelac along that is going to run, I think, through the end of September. Some people had reached out, and I know a lot of people are kind of in the middle of things right now, so I do want to kind of extend it for a little bit and just give everybody some time to try the entrelac technique. Thanks to everybody who commented in a positive way on my sort of little entrelac tutorial last episode. It was crazy. Like, I don't have the camera I use that I'm using right now that I'm looking at you on is actually like a webcam that's just attached to my laptop. So, I don't have a regular camera or a tripod or lighting or any of that good stuff that a lot of other podcasters have. So to be able to like clip my webcam to something that has sort of that upper view so you could actually see my hands to do the tutorial was kind of hysterical, but it actually worked out pretty well. So I made it work somehow. But anyway, like I'm, super excited that the tutorial helped many of you, and hopefully those who haven't had a chance to watch it yet, and are, going to try entrelac eventually, that it will be helpful for you too. What else was I going to say about that? Oh, so I did release, a pattern. So sort of my DK weight entrelac scarf recipe pattern. And for anyone who's watching this, if you want to get it for free, I only put it up there for $1 just because it's, I had to take the effort to kind of write it out and do it. But for anyone who's watching this who wants to purchase that, use the coupon code entrelac along on Ravelry and you can get it for free. I'm also working on, I'll show it to you now, I'm working on a bulky yarn version. I don't use bulky weight tons, but I was thinking about, so one of my, Helen, my knitting friend, who's actually coming over later today, she wants to be able to try entrelac, and so we were looking through her stash for different types of yarn that would work for her, and she's never tried it before. And some of the yarn that she has a lot of fingering weight, and I just feel like for the entrelac's tough anyway in fingering because it does kind of take a long time, but you have to like pick up stitches, and I just feel like it's very tedious for a very super thin yarn, because to really make like a good square you would need a lot of stitches. So anyway, it just kind of got me thinking that for beginners, in addition to DK, like doing something with bulky would be super fun because it's a lot quicker. So she has some yarn, and I had some in my stash as well. This is Knit Picks Chroma Twist Bulky. I don't remember this colorway, Weather Vane, I think. And it's mostly just blues, light blues, dark blues, teals, that kind of thing. There are some that have much more contrasty twist, which is probably even better for entrelac, but I had 2 skeins of this, so I just grabbed this one. And I think what we're going to do, I'm actually kind of in the middle of a row, but I started writing out a pattern, similar to the one I have, but with a different number of stitches. And I'm going to design this to actually be a cowl so that you're going to knit it this way and it'll wrap around your neck and then we'll seam the end. So I did actually make it, like if it was a scarf, I wouldn't have made it this wide. But because we're kind of making it a cowl, and I wanted it to have enough weight that it would bunch down a little bit and make like a good neck warmer. So it is a little bit bigger than I would normally make for a scarf since I'm designing it this way. Anyway, so I'm going to get this finished probably before I write it up. But when I do, I'll post it, probably call it entrelac bulky recipe. And I'll use the same entrelac along coupon code for you guys to get that one free as well. So yeah, so if that's something too that if you, my plan will be to get this pattern out by the end of August. So if you haven't tried entrelac yet and you think you might want to try it with bulky, You can do that during the month of September, but I'll keep you posted on the next podcast and on Instagram and stuff too. Anyway, so I'm working on that. Okay, so I think that's it about Entrelac. Not really much else happening there. In terms of what I've done, I actually have a handful of things, which is super excited. I got in the mode of just kind of really wanting to finish stuff. And as you'll see in what I'm doing, I'm really resisting the urge to cast on anything new and try to finish some of the whips that I have right now. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show is woven, and because when I weave something, you can't really see it in progress unless I take a picture or a video clip of it, since it's like on the loom. It's just a little too awkward to like lift up the loom and show it. I was laughing. Kristen of Vine Yarns and the Vine podcast, she's been weaving a lot, and I think she showed like her weave in progress on her loom. And it's really hard. It's hard to kind of show. And mine I actually bought a stand for, so it's kind of on the stand. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think you've really seen this yet, unless in pictures if you follow me on Instagram. So this is my latest woven item. So this is a technique called clasped weft, where you actually use two different color yarns on the same row, kind of. It can be more complicated. You can use way more than one color, different things like that. But this was just kind of the first time I tried it, and I wanted to kind of see how it worked. This yarn is from Bay Street Yarns, and this is her Vindication, is the dark red, and then Schmoopy. Can't super see it that well because it's mixed in with the red, but it's like a really pretty pink with this red color kind of speckled in. And I love the name Schmoopy. Anyway, so I'd seen these yarns on her website, and I was looking specifically for yarn that I thought would go well together, and bought these two to do this exact scarf, and it came out awesome, and I'm so excited. And this is her, I can't think of the name of the base, but it's her 80/20 merino nylon sock yarn blend. And then I did, normally I've talked about, or in the past I've talked about having a lot of fringe, and sometimes I have the fringe, and I bought a fringe twister, but I haven't really tried twisting it yet. I bought a sewing machine to seam the ends, and I haven't tried that yet. This time I did something different where I just cut the fringe super duper short. So it just made this little, fluffy bits. I think I cut it a little bit too short, and I did hem stitch it, but I do like a decorative hem stitch that isn't super. And when I say hem stitch, you do it with the yarn like while it's still on the loom. It's just a way to kind of wrap together the vertical and horizontal yarn so that it doesn't completely unravel. And I do more of a decorative one because I normally have fringe, so it doesn't really matter. This one, I don't know, I'm worried it's gonna come out, but oh well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, so it's a good size. I mean, this is folded in half right now, and it's reversible, like it looks the same on both sides. I don't know, I really liked it. It was fun. I would definitely try it again. A lot of people do really, really cool designs. I was watching someone, I'm on a rigid huddle weaving group on Facebook, and people are super helpful, but someone was doing like made diamonds, where I'm trying to even think about how it worked. I think one half was one color, one half was the other, and then in the middle was the diamond with the colors flip-flopped. I don't know, it was really cool. And I've seen someone that's done this that made like a piano. So with white and black, did the blocks in a way that it made keys, and the black keys and the white keys. I would love to do that. I have so many musician lovers in my family, but that might be a little beyond my skills. Anyway, so super excited about this. Like I said, I took a little bit of a break from weaving so that I could get a lot of knit done. So I was happy to finally get this off the loom, and it's empty right now, so I gotta get something else going right now. Okay, and then I have 3 finished woven items. First, I will show you the Entrelac scarf that I was doing. So this is in Feederbrook Farms. I think the colorway was silicone, I think. And I actually bought this at Rhinebeck last year. Feederbrook Farms has a booth. I don't know if they still will, but I think they have for a while. And, I was super excited to, I can't think of the woman's name, Lisa, maybe? I don't know. But it was cool to meet her in person because I had, been loving her yarn and Entrelac for so long. And most of the skeins I had at Theodore Brook Farms too, either from Yarn Box or that I had bought directly from their website, was much more likely to be like blues and purples and kind of richer, deeper colors. Sorry, I keep getting texts. And this one is very much more kind of earthy and natural than what I typically get. So this was really kind of fun to work on. Yeah, like the colors are super pretty. So I haven't blocked this yet, so you can see that it's still a little bit bumpy, and the wrong side definitely is still kind of wavy and bumpy. But yeah, so this is following the DK recipe that I have. Again, didn't change yarns because this is sort of like a hand spun yarn. The colors just kind of gradually change with the spin, and it looks like that. So yeah, really happy about it. So you can see, you know, even some parts of the scarf are different colors. Like this is much darker, but I love it. I think it's so unique. And I usually, when I sell items at a craft fair in the fall, I always make at least one of them, and it pretty much almost always sells because it's so different and it's not something that you can buy in a store. You don't really see this that much. Anyway, so I used 2 skeins. Not sure how heavy her skeins are. Again, it's all on my Ravelry page. I mean, 200 and something yards each anyway of DK. And I mean, my wingspan's 64 inches. So I mean, unblocked, it's already bigger than 64 inches, and it's it'll probably be over a foot wide when I block it. So pretty good for that much. And I use size 7 needles. So that's that. Then you've seen this before. This was in progress. This is the Cosito. Ooh, really makes the color look crazy. Cosito Scarf by Quena Lee, and this was in the Malabrigo Heritage ebook collection that one of my designs was in. This is using Malabrigo Rios in the 10K subscriber yarn for Eat Sleep Knit this year, which I don't know the name of, and Teal Feather maybe is the other blue, and the color is not coming out right at all. Like this, the blue is very much more green than it's really showing. But anyway, it was a fun pattern to do. It was like super quick once you get sort of used to the repeat. Like I brought this to work, and it was sort of my commuting project for a bit. And I know Rios blocks out really nicely, so it wasn't super long when it was done. And it rolled a little bit, but once you blocked it, it was fine. So anyway, so that one is done, Cosito. And then this you haven't even seen started, I don't think. So I decided to make the Jody shawl by Hohi Locatelli. It had been in my queue for a while, and I had bought, and probably in an earlier episode, I had bought 3 skeins of Tosh DK from Eat Sleep Knit, like for the sole purpose of making the Jody shawl. I bought like a purple, a pink, and then maybe I did talk about this. I don't know. It's been a while. A purple, a pink, and then kind of like a grayish purple color with like pink in it. And I don't know, I was sold on it in the beginning and then just kind of wasn't. And then randomly I was looking through yarn and kind of trying to put together 3 skeins of fingering weight to do the In the Light shawl, which I am going to do soon. I got to cake up that yarn. And then just was kind of looking through DK and found these 3, and I was super excited, and then couldn't stop working on this. Let me make sure. I don't know. What's nice about this one is that it's hard to even tell the right side or the wrong side. So this is it. I love it. Like, I am very much a neutrals person. Like, I love neutrals. And it's been a long time since I've knit with neutrals. Like, I've been obsessed with pinks and purples and blues and stuff lately. I don't know. So yeah, so the top gray is, I always mix them up. I think it's Astrid Gray or maybe Aura. But again, on my Ravelry page, by Tosh DK. The middle speckly light gray, dark gray is from an Eat Sleep Knit exclusive colorway last year. And again, I always forget the name. It's a Willy Wonka reference. And then the very, very dark gray is from Yarn Love, and it's their Velvet Midnight colorway. So I just adore this. It's so big. It was big even when I made it, and then I knew when I blocked it, it doesn't go very well with the pattern on my shirt, but yeah, it's so big, and then the tails are just so long. So smushy. Love it. Super excited about it. And I mean, it's so easy too. If anyone hasn't done this yet, or if they, have it in their queue and they're kind of waiting to do it, most of it's all garter with just increases and decreases and alternating stripes. And then the edge, if you can see, just is a little bit lacy. It just has like a small repeat lace motif. I think it's like a 4-row repeat or something, and you do it a few times. Yeah, so I was short, so the middle color, I was short a little bit because, Tosh has a little less yardage. It's a little heavier of a DK. And I ran out early, and I knew I was going to, so I just, like, the fade into the dark was supposed to be a little bit longer, so I just started doing the dark sooner. It wasn't a big deal. I still kept the same number of rows. I just did more dark in here. But the rest of the yarn worked out well. I had a little bit left of the other two colors. So definitely good 3-skein DK project. I mean, it's huge and so pretty. And I really like the shape. I don't have a lot of stuff that's crescent shaped like this. And it was super easy to do. You can see my garter tab up there is a little crooked. I didn't block it out quite that well. But anyway, so that's that, the Jody shawl. Super excited about that. In terms of what I'm doing, so then after I was kind of finished this, I'm like, I really need to get back and finish some things. I have a few shawls that are whips, and then I have my Comfort Fade cardigan, which right now I'm like, okay, what am I going to wear to Rhinebeck? So I'm going to Rhinebeck with my friend Helen. We are going to be there Saturday and Sunday. I don't mind wearing any of the 2 sweaters I made last year. I'm perfectly fine wearing it again. I don't care. But I do have that Comfort Fade cardigan almost done. So I'm like, if I can just finish that, then I know I have a sweater I can wear. But there's so many other sweaters I want to make. And I have some sweaters quantity of yarn that I could make things. I just need to decide what. Like, I don't know. I was going to make I can't think of the name of it right now. It's a poncho. By Lindy Christina, and I have the yarn for that, this gorgeous lavender loon yarn. But then I was like debating if a poncho would be warm enough because it's just kind of lightweight, but then it might be good because then I can just wear a long sleeve shirt underneath. So I don't know. I didn't want to like take the time to make it and then decide it wasn't the right sweater to wear down there. Anyway, do want to at least get that Comfort Fade cardigan finished before I do any other sweater so that I at least have one done, because I'm on a sleeve and then I only have the other sleeve and the collar. Only, right? Anyway, so that is going to be a whip I need to get back to. The other one is my friend's blanket that I was supposed to make for them, or not supposed to, but that I decided to make for them as a wedding gift. And they got married a couple months ago, and I keep saying, I'll get to it whenever. My goal right now, so I'll actually see our friend Mike on Labor Day. He comes over for the big fantasy football draft. I'm kind of leaning toward trying to get it done by then so I can give it to him then. And then, of course, everybody else will be around and be jealous that he gets this really nice blanket. That's my goal. If not, I'm sure I'll see him and his wife at some point over the fall for football and stuff, so I can always give it to them then. But I needed kind of a deadline, so to at least try and make it Labor Day would help. So this I am using, I don't know the label band, Valley Yarns Amherst, which is worsted combination of acrylic and merino, I think. Really soft, and I like it. Wanted to make it washable. They have a dog. It's a gift. It's a blanket. It's something I want to be able to last. So, amazingly, I'm not in the middle of a row. I mean, I'm making pretty good progress on it, which is good. It's just a big blanket, so it takes a while. So let's find my progress keeper. Okay, so where the little... Oh, it's hard to see. The little ice cream popsicle is where I was last time I showed this on the podcast, which was a couple months ago probably. So I've made a little bit of progress anyway. So it is this big. I mean, it's half my body right now, a little more than half my body right now. So that's not bad. I mean, I feel like I'm more than halfway there. I haven't done as many repeats as I thought I was going to have to do for the size I wanted to get. But Mike's a little bit tall. I don't know. And his wife's not tall. But we'll see. I'll just keep going and see where we are at the time I'm close to my deadline and decide if I think it's long enough. And it's definitely wide enough. I mean, it's bunched up a little bit on this needle. And I wasn't making it like a bedspread size, more of like a big throw. But yeah, I mean, again, I love this pattern. I can't talk enough about it. This is Umaro by Jared Flood. There's a chart, and I use the chart. I have it, the image of the chart just on like a Microsoft PowerPoint slide on my laptop. And then I have like a highlighted rectangle I just plopped over it. And then I just move up that highlighted rectangle and then mark on a piece of paper which line I finished. And it's been working. It's been a good kind of method for me. But yeah, it's easy. I mean, there's one line that has this little cable. And when I get to that line, I'm like, ugh. But once I'm done that, then you don't have to do that again for like 8 or 10 more lines. So anyway, so this is my current whip. I'm going to try. I mean, I will probably do my sweater a little bit. And then I do need some sort of commuter project. So I need to decide on what that will be. Remember early on I was talking about making my Cozy Memories blanket, my commuter project, because I could get a square done pretty quickly with my sort of 2 commutes. So maybe I'll do that while I'm working on it. That way I don't get too obsessed with like a new project. We'll see. I can always change my mind. Okay, so that's that. Well, one of the things too, so in terms of deadlines, but I definitely don't think I'll start this until after the craft fair. Maybe. I showed this, I think, on one of my very first episodes. So my husband and his sister had these Christmas stockings that their aunt, great aunt, had made for them when they were born. I don't know. So when my niece was born, when my sister-in-law had her first baby, my mother-in-law asked if, do you think you could make a stocking like this for our niece or my niece? So of course Ben's great aunt didn't have the pattern. Like I couldn't find the pattern anywhere. I tried to like Google for it, couldn't find it. So I pretty much figured it out. And this was 5 years ago, and I was not as good at designing and really didn't do socks. So trying to look at a Christmas stocking and figure out how it was made when I wasn't, as experienced, I guess, as I am now, was fun, and I did a pretty good job. So now I have a nephew, and he is almost 1, and so this will be his first Christmas of being a little bit older. I didn't really have enough time to do it last year. So I brought home, after last Christmas, the stocking I had made for my niece to try and recreate it for my nephew. So this is my niece's. I will put up a picture of this one next to my husband's old one, just to kind of show you what the original looked like and what I modified to make this one. This is actually in Red Heart Soft, so I need to see if I still have some, or I'll have to buy some. And then I think the skin tone for Santa was maybe like Karen Simply Soft or something, but the red, white, and green was Red Heart. And I did color work I didn't know if I color worked the name or if I did it on top after, but I did color work it. I must have figured out the letter somehow. So I'm pretty proud of this. And if you see it next to the old one, it definitely looks like a modern day kind of version of the old pattern. And I know I had written it down on a piece of paper. I don't think I'll be able to find it, so I'm going to have to redo it. But yeah, so I'm kind of excited. So I went through, oh God, I'll talk about that in a minute, but I went through all kind of finished objects that I have, sort of figuring out what things I'll sell at the craft fair and what things will be gifts and what I'll keep and that kind of stuff. And kind of looking through all the things that I've woven so far, which is surprisingly so many things. And anyway, this was in kind of the storage bin, because I knew I needed to have this to do it later on. So anyway, so at some point you'll see me working on this. But I just wanted to show you guys. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I've got, which is kind of a lot of stuff. So first I want to talk about Knit Crate for August. So if you haven't got yours yet, if you are a Knit Crate member, don't look. And as always, there's a link below my video to a special affiliate link of mine, telling Knit Crate that you found them through me. And by doing so, you can also enter a coupon code KYAK20 will get you 20% off the first month of any of their memberships, or if you see a lot of yarn kind of in their shop that you want to buy, that coupon will work for that as well. So this is their membership sock crate. And this month we got, so their membership sock crate and membership crate are their own line of yarns. I think they have like 4 different separate lines. So, you get one of those each month, and exclusive colorways, obviously. So this one is this is Vitellana, and this is their heathered sock. So it is 40% merino, 40% Peruvian Highland, and 20% nylon fingering weight, 439 yards. And this yarn in the membership crate, not membership sock, but we got 2 skeins of this same yarn, but it was undyed, if you remember. It's like black and gray, or dark gray and light gray. So this is the same base, but this is dyed. So I might at some point make something together with this one and the 2 gray ones, because that's a good yarn. Like I could make a sweater with that. I gotta think about that. But anyway, so happy. There were 2 colors this month, this maroon and like a really pretty like dark turquoise tealy color, which I still may go buy from the shop if they post it. But I just love this. Absolutely love this. It's so pretty. I just love that marled look. I don't get a lot of marled yarn, so I just love the look of that. Then I got the Artisan Crate, which the Artisan Crate is not Knit Crate's own yarn line. They partner with different independent dyers or, other dyeing companies to do exclusive colors for the crates. This month I was super excited. So the company that they worked with is Dragonfly Fibers, and they were actually in a yarn box like years and years ago. And I still have the yarn and haven't used it. I've actually been saving it for a Shushui shrug. I bought Tosh Merino light color and a contrasting color to go with the Dragonfly Fibers color I have a long time ago, before people even kind of got the bug of that shrug. I wanted to do it. The bug of the shrug. But I still don't know how to brioche. So thus it sits in my yarn cabinet. But so this is their Pixie yarn, which is single ply, fingering, superwash merino, 100%, 430 yards. This colorway is Metamorphosis. That's a pretty real showing right there. So it's like light blue, dark blue, pink, kind of like a brown, and like a deep purple. Really, really pretty. Don't know what I'm gonna make with it. I don't know. But I love it. And then with the Artisan Crate, you get a knit pattern. You get 2 knit patterns, a beginner and intermediate. And then they send you like a little extra. Last month, I forget what last month was, or maybe last month was the koozie. It was like a cold drink koozie that had a saying on it and the Knit Crate logo. That popsicle stick progress keeper that I showed you on my blanket, that was one. But anyway, this month we got a tote. So it says Knit Crate on it, and it's actually one that you can embroider like on top of, which is pretty cool. I don't know if I'll attempt that. I kind of like the way that looks, but always good to have another bag. And our grocery store is starting to like not give plastic bags anymore, so as many of these kind of carry bags as I can get would be great. So yeah, so super excited about that. Okay, so that's that. Then, if you all remember, I was in a 3-month summer Stephen West Knits Yarn Along club through Stephen and Penelope, and it was featuring Ushtita yarn, Skein yarn, and La Bien Amie were like the 3 that were going to be featured in 3 months, and you were guaranteed, I think, 3 skeins of yarn in each of those months, and an extra, and a Stephen West pattern. I think I showed you the first month. I don't think I showed you last month's, or yeah, what month are we in? Yeah, I showed you June, I didn't show you July. Anyway, August came, and August was La Bien Amie. And I knew going into the club that Stephen West likes bright colors and putting bright colors together. And the first month, which I did show you, I think was like the yarn was mainly like turquoise, pink, like magenta, and orange. And it was this really pretty shawl pattern. The next month was skein, and it was single ply, and it was like pinks and purples. And I like the yarn a lot. I didn't like the pattern, but I did like the yarn a lot. I don't know what I'll make with it, but it was a good addition to my stash. So this month, I can't even tell you how super excited I was to get this. So this is La Bien Amie, and this is her Merino Sport, 100% Merino, 355 yards each. So pretty. So this is very, very light gray and cream with like gold speckles. This one is a little darker gray with gold speckles and like a little bit of like hunter green and a little bit of orange in there. And then this is just gorgeous, like dusty blue and gray and even more of that hunter green in there. I mean, if this isn't my color sense. So super excited. I'm like, whoa, like, I mean, what is it? 355. So 1,000 yards of sport weight. Amazing. So then I'm noticing some people in the group are sort of like, these aren't really my colors, which makes sense because if you're going to buy a Stephen West thing, like you expect or would be used to sort of his aesthetic of being more bright colors. So it would make sense that some people may not like these where I absolutely love them. So I contacted someone who was interested in potentially selling them, and I said, hey, are you interested in trading for either June or July? So she said she was and traded me with the June box, which was that like turquoise, pink, and orange, which was good to get. Like I liked the colors, and that was the Ushtita yarn. But if I had a choice and it was going to cost me was shipping, I was like, absolutely. So now I have 2 of each of these. I wanted to make a sweater, and I was looking at the rose cardigan, which I wanted to make for a while, the Andrea Mowry like big cabled thing. Could definitely do it with this. I would have to adjust the fade because she, like one color, you need a lot more yardage of than just 2 skeins of one color. So I may just wait. There's not a lot of sport weight sweaters out there, so I think I may just hoard these until the perfect pattern comes along. In the meantime, so before I even traded, I was like, well, maybe I'll get more sport weight that could coordinate with it, just because I like the colors so much. So around that time, Wool & Vine was doing a shop update, and she kind of alternates between like heavier weights and lighter weights like every other week. But anyway, so that week she was doing one with her sport base, which is called Sportlandia. Again, 100% merino. This is her Solstice colorway, and I got 2. And it's very, very kind of similar to almost like a mix of these two. So it's kind of this like creamy gray color, with like darker tan and like navies in there. So it kind of goes really well with sort of the same family too. So anyway, I got a lot to work with. Whether I'm going to use all 3 of those colors in something or use the Wool & Vine with some of those colors, I don't know, but I'm super excited to. And I was looking, I'll talk about that in a second, but I'm starting to dig through my stash and like reorganize it. I don't have a lot of sport, and granted there's not a lot of patterns out there with sport, but I don't know, it's sometimes a good alternative. Like I feel like the difference between sport and DK is kind of significant. Like a lot of the DK I have is very heavy DK, and sometimes fingering is just too much light fingering. Like sport's just a nice in between. But anyway, okay, then another purchase I made, Kayleen of the Little Bean and Me podcast and Little Bean Loves Yarn came out with this themed set of yarn, her affirmations collection, and she talked about it a lot in her, I think it was her latest podcast episode, so definitely check that out. But she talks a lot about just kind of mental health awareness in general, and feeling like sometimes you need to say certain words to yourself to remind yourself of how great you are. So she came up with 5 different colorways that sort of to her represented these 5 statements. See if I can get them all. I am fierce. I am loved, I am worthy, I am smart, and I am, what's the other one? Smart, worthy. Oh, beautiful, of course. And they're really cool. And she kind of described like why the color to her sort of aligned with that statement. Anyway, so I wanted to get a couple because I love supporting her and I just thought the idea was amazing. And like I'm a very analytical person by nature, and so I'm like just super self-aware and constantly kind of thinking about my own mental health and what I need and the things I need to work on and that kind of stuff. So anyway, so I got 2 of her colorways, and the 2 I got coincidentally were the 2 statements that I felt I needed the most, and were also the 2 colors I liked the most. So it was freakishly amazing. So the 2 I got, so this one is I Am Smart, and this is on her everyday sock base, which is 75/25. So it's sort of this creamy yellow base with turquoise and navy and gold. And the gold kind of runs through all 5 of her colorways too. And I'm sorry, it's getting blown out a little bit, but you get the gist of it. So that's that one. And then the other one I got from her is I Am Worthy. And this one's similar base with the similar gold, but this one has a lot more purple and violet going through, which to her, you think of like regal, luxurious kind of colors, that sort of purple idea. So being worthy of that. So those are the 2 I got. And then I did get 2 minis. So I got sort of the navy to go more with this color, and then the lavender to go with this one. So I definitely think I'm going to make something, all of this together. I might design a pattern. I don't know. I may see what's out there. This isn't going to be something I do right away, but in whatever it is will be for me. Because when Kayleen was talking about it, she was just saying, she loves the idea of making a product with this yarn to kind of wrap up in and feel all of those things that this yarn is saying. So anyway, super cool. And then I made an order from Suburban Stitcher. Diane had a sale or a coupon code or something as she was kind of wrapping up her vacation. I do have some of her yarn already, most of which I haven't used yet. Again, like I hoard stuff because I love it so much and then want to wait for the perfect project. Anyway, so I've been wanting to do the Suburban Wrap by Joji Locatelli for a while. Like that's been in my queue. And I had 3 skeins of Mrs. Crosby in like light purple, dark purple, or like really like creamy light purple, medium purple, dark purple, that I was going to make that pattern with. Then I wanted to use that yarn instead for the In the Light shawl, where you like hold more than one color together. It was really like the only yarn I had that I felt that would work for. So then I had nothing to use the Suburban Wrap for. So then I was looking at her shop and decided to buy the yarn for the Suburban Wrap and the exact colors that Joji used for the sample, which I love to begin with anyway. And I already owned the middle colorway in the singles, which is, oh God, sorry, my lighting's really bad, which is Doily. And it's just this very antique-y, creamy off-white color. So I already own this. And that was used in the pattern with Predictability, which is a color that I always drool over in her shop and had never purchased before. It's really pretty mauve with bits of purple. And Coal, which is a very dark grayish black. So these are the 3 that are used in the sample pattern, which I'll put a picture up if I remember. So anyway, so I took advantage of her sale, bought these 2 since I already had this one, and we'll eventually make that wrap with this and keep it, I think. I say that's so funny, but like I'm one of the few people who, I guess then I'm definitely the whole like debate between the process and product, not debate, but whatever, between being a process knitter or a product knitter, like I barely keep anything I make, so that sort of makes me think I'm a process knitter, but at the same time, I do love the object, so it's the idea of challenging myself with the process, but still having the complete object, but I just either sell it or give it as a gift, or have someone else who wants to buy it from me to give as a gift or whatever. But so anyway, so when I decide to keep something, it's a pretty big deal to me. So I think if I make that wrap, I would probably keep it because I really like it. Anyway. Okay, and then finally, though I guess it's been 3 weeks. Okay, so I think I showed either last episode or maybe the episode before, a new-ish to me dyer, and the company name is the Blackberry Ridge. I don't know how I found her, why I started following her on Instagram, and I don't want to say she's my new favorite because there's so many yarn dyers out there that I love. All of you that are watching, like, I love all of your yarn. And that's what's amazing to me. You know, like, people talk about Bethany of Woolberry Fiber Co. too was talking about it on her last podcast, like kind of finding, like, just as a yarn dyer from her perspective, like finding where you fit in the industry. Like, some people have a much bigger kind of shop and way that they do things and volume that they can produce versus other people, and they do it very differently. Some people it's full-time, some people it's not. But it does amaze me because everyone uses, for the most part, the same sourced yarn and probably the same color dyes, but it's the way they dye, the colors they use, just the aesthetic they have. So there's some yarn dyers who probably, you know, dye a variety of colors, and I'm only really drawn to maybe like these few colors over here, but really love those few colors, but it doesn't mean I would be open to every color that they have. I think about that a lot with like mystery clubs or like the advent calendars that were out and things like that, to kind of like, there are going to be some colors that I'm not always drawn to with every dyer. So I'm very kind of picky about who I would trust with like mystery clubs that for the most part have the same kind of overall aesthetic that I would be drawn to. Anyway, so the Blackberry Ridge, so far, like every color in her, almost 95% of the colors in her shop, I would buy and I would use and I would love. Like, maybe it's the way she dyes, or like that she's very tonal and sort of light speckled. I don't know. I just love it. So I bought a few skeins that I've already shown, I think, on a previous episode, but I bought more. So this colorway is called Boy Mom. I don't know how good this will show up on camera, but not too bad. So the base of it is just a kind of typical heather gray, and then has navy and like a bright kind of grassy green in there. You can kind of see the green. Yeah, that's not too bad. So I don't know, and I just loved it. I love that it's very neutral, but the brightness of the green is just really cool. I think I'm gonna weave with these. I was thinking with some of the scarves I have for the craft fair, I don't really have a lot of kind of neutral unisex kind of colors, and I think this would be really pretty because the speckles are so delicate. Let me just show you her label too. Anyway, and this is also her 80/20 sock base. Then this other color, this is called Gypsy Wagon. And this too, the base is very like creamy mauve color, but then the speckles are like deep magentas. And again, like this like hunter green and a little bit of gold in there. I don't know, it's just so pretty. And then so some of the other tonals that I bought from her kind of coordinate with this. So I sort of bought this one knowing I could. That's another thing too, like with having so many colors that you like, a lot of them are very similar that you could put them together. With Woolberry Fiber Co., I kind of feel the same way. Like I like a lot of her colors and they're all sort of, I don't know, just have the same feel that you feel like you can put them together more. So anyway, so I bought those. Okay. That's all I'm showing you for what I got. I mean, that's mostly all I got since the last time anyway, although there's some more hypnotic yarn probably in my mailbox right now. But so I may put videos of this after right now. It depends on how much I can actually record. So my husband has been away for a couple days and he's on a golf trip. So I decided it would be a good opportunity, and actually you can see this way, see some of it over there. I decided I was going to take out all my yarn and like reorganize it. scary. I mean, I only moved into this condo in December, and at that time I sort of put everything away in an organized fashion in a way that I wanted to, but I've accumulated a crap load of yarn since December because I've been weaving, and instead of getting rid of my stash, I've been adding to it. So anyway, so I still had kind of yarn in places that like didn't fit and whatever. And so I have a cabinet in my bedroom. It's like a glass door bookshelf kind of thing, with like 4 big shelves, and that's where the vast majority of my yarn is. And then I have like cubbies in like a cube thing that the rest of my yarn is in for the most part. And anyway, the bookcase, for the most part, have been organizing it almost by dyer. So like the top shelf is like Tosh and Malabrigo, the bottom shelf is Knit Picks, and then the second and third shelf is like a mix of indie dyers. But I put indie dyers together regardless of base, which was fine however many years ago when I would only use the same dyer, the same base, the same everything, like for one project. I'm much more brave now, and I mix bases and mix dyers, and I'm okay with that. So it's been harder for me to find yarn that goes together for different projects because they're on multiple shelves, and then I have to pull out tons of different crap and like figure it out. So I decided I'm going to reorganize by base to the best that I can. So even by weight, I should say. I've been saying base this whole time, but by weight, so that I put all my, DK and worsted together and all my fingering in one area and kind of figure all that out. So anyway, so I've been pulling yarn out. So there's some yarn, again, on that table. Let me see if I can pick it up and even show you some. Whoa. Can you see some of it on that table back there? Anyway, and that's not even, that's just what was in like bins, not even in my big bookshelf. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to do today. And so some of my, Helen of my knitting group is coming over in a few hours, and we'll have to witness and hopefully not judge all of the yarn that I have. But I think it will feel good. I think it's going to feel good to be kind of organized and to be able to be like, oh, hey, look, I forgot about that yarn. Yeah, oh, wow, that goes with that. I'm going to make that. Like, I think it will be good. Hopefully it won't give me cast on itis. But I think I will feel well organized after that, and I don't want to do this kind of thing when my husband's around, because what he doesn't know won't hurt him. Speaking of, I was laughing. So Diane of Suburban Stitcher and Amber of the Yarn Hoarder both did little video clips like with their husband and asked them a bunch of questions kind of about the fiber world and things that they know. I was laughing so hard at both of them. Like, so funny. And when I was watching Suburban Stitcher, my husband, I think, came home or whatever, and I just kind of said to him, and I had it up on the TV, and I was like, oh, how funny. I'm like, and I think the question had just been like value of your stash or something like that. And so it was just funny. So like I knew he wouldn't like know half those. I didn't ask him all of the questions. Like I knew he wouldn't know half. Although I think I did say like, if I died tomorrow, like what would you do with all my yarn? And I kind of led him toward like obviously the women in my knitting group, and he was like, oh yeah, he's like, they would, Merry Christmas, here's all her yarn. So my knitting group should know that apparently he would gift all of my yarn to them and they could figure out what to do with it. Anyway. Okay, so yeah, so I may videotape maybe the before and the after, or if I find some really cool yarn, do some clips of it. I don't know. If not, it won't be at the end of this video. But as always, thank you for watching. Hope you will all join in the Entrelock along through the end of this month and through the end of September. And I don't know. That's it for now. Hope everyone's doing good. Enjoying the last of the summer. Back to school. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But fall is always nice. I live in New England, so fall, for the most part, if winter doesn't kick in too soon, fall's always really nice. So I kind of look forward to that as well. But anyway, hope everyone's doing well and having a great weekend and enjoying the weather when it's not storming out there. And I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I am going through my stash and trying to reorganize. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of some of my yarn. How do I can't flip when I'm in the middle of a video. Okay, so here is some DK weight yarn. I'm trying to kind of collect it by weight, and then I'm gonna put it away. You can see I have a variety of stuff here, some Woolen Boon, some Dragonwort, Woolberry Fiber Co., Tosh, lots of good stuff. So in my bedroom I have this big case. So I did pull out some stuff from the bottom shelf, which is Knit Picks. That is all Knit Picks yarn in that bin. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. But yeah, I think I'm going to put DK and worsted on the bottom, and then got to figure out what to do with the rest. So I'm essentially pulling out everything that's in here right now and reorganizing. Then out in my living room, I also have this sort of cubicle thingy. So I've been pulling out all of the drawers and trying to kind of reorganize those. And then here, all over my dining room table, is a lot more yarn. So this was stuff that was either in those cubicles or was in a separate area for weaving. This kind of right here is all of like my sport weight. This, I'm accumulating a little bit of lace weight so that I can weave with that. But yeah, then this is just lots more fingering. Some Mrs. Crosby, some dyed in the wool that I've had forever, which I love, and I need to use it. Lots of hypnotic yarn that I bought for weaving as well. Some Woolen Boon yarn over there, some awesome mini sets, some Julie Aslin, Lady Man Fiber Arts. Okay, so it's now a day later, and I want to show you kind of the finished project, although it sort of looks the same. But what I decided to do, I have all of my DK weight yarn on the bottom down there. I have a lot of Tosh, and then just kinds of odds and ends, a few from Indie Dyers, but just ones I've kind of accumulated. I don't tend to have too much DK, and I've actually used a lot of it lately. Then on the next shelf up, I have sport weight right here on the left. I don't have too many of it. And then the right side is fingering weight, but it tends to be the yarn that I want to use to weave. So either yarn that I've intentionally bought to weave, or stuff I had in my stash that I knew I would really want to try to weave with. Then the top two shelves are fingering weight. I still kept the dyers together where I could, and then just kind of separated the shelves by the top shelf being kind of ones I would gravitate toward sooner, and the second shelf being ones that, you know, maybe that I've had for a while, that I don't, well, the top shelf I don't necessarily have anything planned for either, but I don't know, at the moment I just like better than the second shelf. So yeah, so that's that right there, pretty packed with not a lot of room left. Then the rest of my yarn is all in these cubbies. So I have one cubby of Feederbrook Farms, one of sock blanks and kind of mini sets that I've got, you know, like if you, like I have a Leading Men Fiber Arts in there, a Julie Aslin, you know, just kind of 100 grams that it's in a bunch of minis. This one's actually all worsted. I don't have too much worsted, mostly just Rios. That's some yarn that I've got from various fiber shares. This one's all Knit Picks. That is all Blue Moon Fiber Arts. Some of their skeins are like huge yarn babies, so I put them all in one. That is also Knit Picks. That is kind of odds and ends, some stuff that I have for Skano kits. That one too I think is like odds and ends. I put some yarn that I'm kind of moved into my Will Trade or Sell section of Ravelry, so at some point I will let everyone know that that's in there. This is Valley Yarns from Webs, and then just a little bit of Knit Picks thrown in there because it couldn't fit. This is all lace weight and Knit Picks palette, so it's kind of stuff to weave with because I make kind of faux Burberry scarves with the palette, and then I'm starting to accumulate some lace weight to weave with. What is this? I think that's kind of odds and ends too, like stuff I might sell. And that is all Sugar Bush Bliss, which I had designed a scarf in for Yarnbox and then bought a lot when Yarnbox went out of business because they discounted it crazy. Then this bag is mostly acrylic yarn, so I had some of that in these bins,
Red Heart Soft, Red Heart with wool. I still use those occasionally for baby blankets and gifts for people, but I decided to just kind of pull it out, so I just need a place to find the bag. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for coming along in my yarn reorganization journey. Like I said, I'm going to put some stuff, or kind of reorganize stuff in Ravelry. So if you're interested in any of the yarn that I will be selling, let me know. Thanks guys, talk to you later.